Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. So a few months back I did Summerween and I read some of BookTube's most hated thrillers for that vlog. Or should I say 3 vlogs, because I did 3 episodes of it. I read 4 books that I think were considered some of BookTube's most hated, and I ended up reading them for the first time and giving you my thoughts and feelings on them to see whether I aligned with other BookTubers. Turns out I wasn't a fan of pretty much any of the books I read in that vlog. I mean, I might be a bitch, but I do sometimes play fair. I felt bad. I felt bad that I was judging them solely based on their lowest rated books. So in order to be fair and in order to be nice, I thought I would try and give these 4 authors a second chance. It was an idea that came up during that vlog series, and a few people mentioned it in the comments as well, wanting me to do something like this. So consider this the follow-up to reading some of BookTube's most hated thrillers video series I did. So the 4 authors are Alex Michaelides, Ruth Ware, Riley Sager, and Peter Swanson. I keep wanting to say Ron Swanson because I'm such a huge Parks and Recreation fan, and I feel like he's the only person with that surname that I like. And in the comments of the Summerween vlogs, you guys told me all of the books that you loved from these authors. So how am I choosing the books for this video? Well, I have gone through all of the comments on those videos and I have tallied up all the times a book was recommended, and I have clear winners. It was a little bit close at some points, but you know, I feel like these 4 books that I need to read in this video are hopefully some of the best. I mean, if you guys really love them, then surely they're the best, surely. So let's start off with Alex Michaelides. The only other book other than The Maidens, which I read and really did not enjoy, is The Silent Patient. So even though that was the only other book by that author, 14 people did recommend it in the vlogs. So you know, it could possibly be good. So I will definitely be reading The Silent Patient for Alex Michaelides, and that's because there is just no other option. I have no other option. Okay, Ruth Ware, she has a bigger catalogue. She has In a Dark Dark Wood, The Woman in Cabin 10, The Lying Game, The Death of Mrs. Westaway, The Turn of the Key, One by One, and The IT Girl. Or is it The It Girl? I don't actually know. So there's actually a clear winner for Ruth Ware, and to tell you the totals that each book got recommendation wise, In a Dark Dark Wood got 4 votes, The Woman in Cabin 10 got 7 votes, The Lying Game got 0 votes. Not a single person recommended that book to me. The Death of Mrs. Westaway got 6 votes, The Turn of the Key got 39 votes, One by One, I'd already done that, and The IT Girl, or The It Girl, got 1 recommendation. But I feel like that was because it hadn't really come out yet, or it was about to come out, and I think one person read it via NetGalley and they enjoyed it, so they recommended it. But yeah, it doesn't win. It doesn't win still. So as you can see, there was a clear runaway favourite in The Turn of the Key. Like, it doesn't even come close. The runner-up is The Woman in Cabin 10 with 7 votes. So there's a huge gap between them. So I'm definitely going to be reading The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware in this video. For Riley Sager, it was actually a lot closer, and at one point it was a different book that was going to be read, but then as I was getting through the 3rd and final episode of the previous series, there were a lot more votes for the one that ended up winning. So in terms of Riley Sager, his books are Final Girls, The Last Time I Lied, Lock Every Door, Home Before Dark, Survive the Night, which I've already read, and The House Across the Lake. So in terms of numbers, what were recommended the most? Final Girls got 8 votes, The Last Time I Lied got 20 votes, Lock Every Door got 32 votes, Home Before Dark got 48 votes, and The House Across the Lake got 3 votes. So at one point, Lock Every Door was going to be the one that was going to win, and I was really excited for it actually, because I know that is Nikia from Nikia's Hideaway's favourite Riley Sager book. But Home Before Dark, it does look really good, and I'm excited to read it, especially since Survive the Night was my favourite of the bunch that I read in that previous vlog series, even though it still wasn't great and I still didn't enjoy it all that much, but I still have huge hopes for Home Before Dark. I love the name of it too, it's a great name. And then finally, Peter Swanson. His catalogue includes The Girl with a Clock for a Heart, The Kind Worth Killing, Her Every Fear, All the Beautiful Lies, Before She Knew Him, 8 Perfect Murders, Every Vow You Break, and I, of course, have read 9 Lives. So in terms of numbers, what was recommended, actually Peter Swanson books weren't recommended all that much in the comments of that series. Not a whole lot of people came forward with a recommendation for him, and a lot of people hadn't actually read from him yet either. So I feel like Peter Swanson, out of all of the authors in this video, is like the least popular, which, you know, sometimes I do like to root for an underdog, but I already don't think I'm going to enjoy any of his books, in all honesty. A lot of people have told me he usually retells other stories, and one of my biggest gripes with 9 Lives was that it was just a really boring and awful retelling of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and I just feel like Peter Swanson doesn't have an original thought in his head. However, the votes are in, and The Girl with a Clock for a Heart got 1 vote, The Kind Worth Killing got 12 votes, Her Every Fear got 0 votes, All the Beautiful Lies got 0 votes, Before She Knew Him got 0 votes, 8 Perfect Murders got 9 votes, and Every Vow You Break got 2 votes. I was actually really scared that 8 Perfect Murders would win, because I have heard that this book spoils a lot of twists and reveals from other classic murder mysteries. And again, I'm not surprised because it's Peter Swanson we're talking about. So I'm really glad that The Kind Worth Killing won. I hadn't really heard about that one, and I know nothing about any of these books. Just putting this out there, I don't know anything about them. I will tell you what these books are about in these sections where I read these books, so I will have timestamps down below if you want to check those out. This will be entirely spoiler free too, so you don't have to worry if you haven't read them yet. I won't be spoiling a thing. However, if I do want to rant like I did in the previous vlogs, I will put a spoiler warning up on the screen, and I promise I will not spoil anything for you if you never want to see spoilers. You will have the option to skip. And I'm really excited about this vlog, I really am, because I'm not reading books that a lot of people hate. I'm reading books that the majority of people really enjoy. I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't like the books that I'm about to read in this vlog, but just knowing that, you know, they're more universally well accepted compared to the ones I read in the previous vlog series makes me happy. It makes me excited. And I'm so looking forward to going back to my library as well. I'm going back to my library. I'm going to be checking these books out. I have checked if they're available in the libraries by going on the online catalogue, and they are. One of them, however, isn't available in the one that's just around the corner from me, but it's available in a different library that's still part of the library chain that I guess it's part of, and I'm just going to travel there tomorrow to pick it up from that place. Hopefully nobody gets it before I get there, and if they do, they won't be able to stop me from getting it from their hands. I obviously can't start reading them tonight because I don't own them yet. It is nearly 9 p.m. For some reason I'm drinking a pumpkin spice frappuccino at 9 p.m. So I guess I get a night off? That's a really strange concept. So let's get into the books now, and before we continue, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, let's go. Before I get started and tell you about my day, I thought I would show you how I make my coffee, because I did get a comment on my Haunted Castle vlog from Moonflower asking how I do my coffees, so I thought now would be a perfect time to do this, as I'm about to make a coffee and join Jade on some Patreon sprints. So I need this coffee. This is only my second coffee today, and it's 12:22. 12:22. So I'm flagging a bit. But firstly, do you like what I did with the place? I got this from Chillingham Castle, and I thought, what should I do with it? Should I put it in my library? But then I thought, why not put it above my coffee machine and make it look like I am selling coffee to witches or something? I don't know. With homemade witches brew served daily, and I do have my little cauldron there as well on top, just to add to it. I'll keep this up all year round. I don't care if it's not Halloween. I'll keep it up all year round. I really will. Oh crap, this needs washed. My housemate's pretty shit at washing dishes, not gonna lie. Anyway, back on track. So the coffee that I use this coffee, and I get it from Amazon. I get a pack of 4. Really quite cheap. It's espresso creamer, and it is strong and creamy with a strength guide of 4. So I do like making a nice strong coffee. So that's the kind of coffee I use. And I do put it in a coffee jar thingamabobby. And then I just, you know, scoop it into this. I need to turn this on as well. Oh my god. I haven't turned it on from the wall. You'll think I don't do this all the time. I do. It's just because, you know, people are watching me right now. I'm a little bit nervous. So I do scoop it in. I always do double shots. I never just do singles. Screw that. I've piled it up in there, and then I use this little thing to, squeeze it in. Make sure it's nice and compact. So this is a Breville mini barista coffee machine. I got this like over a year ago. I could probably do with another one, a different one to be honest. But I do have a little syrup station here as well. I have pumpkin spiced, I was almost about to actually do that there. Hazelnut. Those are my big ones, but I do have vanilla, gingerbread, salted caramel, and just plain old caramel. It does this every now and then. I also have my chocolate sprinkles upon the top because I always make myself a cappuccino. It's my go-to. It's my usual. So I'll put my mug under there. I've put this in with the coffee grounds. Can you see it okay? Yeah, you can see fine. And then double. It's a double, baby. And then I'll get the milk. Yeah, I'm not fancying a syrup today, otherwise I would have put pumpkin spice in. But I'm a little pumpkin spiced out, not gonna lie. I had a cold one yesterday and that was enough. Sorry about the lighting. So I poured the milk into my little milk jug thingamabobby. I don't know technical terms, okay? I do have close-up shots of me doing this in my Read With Me video with the nature sounds. So now I'm going to steam the milk. It'll be very loud, so I don't think I'll be able to like actually talk about what I'm doing. Perfect, and then I just steam the milk. It takes a little while to do this. It's not as fast as what you get in a coffee shop. And I like it to be a little bit extra hot so that it lasts a little bit longer. I don't like drinking it until it's a bit cooler, but just knowing that it's there and it's like hot, knowing that I don't have to get to it straight away, I don't have to explain myself to you, okay? So I usually wait until it's between 160 and 180 on the temperature dial thing. I like to get a bit of froth action on this as well. So not exactly the best angle, but yeah, the milk's done. I probably put in a little bit too much, but I'm not 100% sure. Sometimes it looks like it's too much and it's not. Sometimes it's too little and it's not. I don't understand half the time. But yeah, you do a little bit of this. I don't know what this does, but I just see baristas do it in Starbucks all the time. So I do it too. And then, yeah, do a little bit of that. And then pour. Oh, see, I don't... Look at that. Look at that. The froth just, like, plopped out there. Usually comes out a lot smoother than that. I think I've, like, frothed it, you know? Okay, so that's not, like, the most perfect one I've ever done. So I'm sorry I'm kind of done a little bit of a disappointing one for you. I definitely made it better in that Read With Me video, so do check it out if you haven't already. I'll link it down below. But, yeah, and then I just put a little bit chocolate sprinkles on the top. And that is my cappuccino. It'll taste bloody lovely though. Yeah, it's still perfect. Absolutely perfect. God, I make the best ones. I just need you guys to come over here and try it for yourselves. I'll make as many as you want. £3.50 per cup. Okay. I had a little bit of a struggle this morning with this library malarkey. I absolutely love it though. Absolutely love it. And if anything, it makes me love libraries even more. So I did have to go to one that's like a little bit further away to get one of the books. And so I got there. But like, I've never really been inside before, and it's just really just one room. And it's really just one room. And not a huge selection, but it was so cute and so nice. And there were two old ladies who were minding the desk. And, you know, I came in and I was like, oh, hi, I'm just here to get something. Is that okay? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. Are you part of the library? And I was like, yeah. Because I thought like the library I'm at now is part of all of them. I thought it was like some kind of like chain thingy-mabobby, because they use the same catalogue online, and that's how I knew that this book was in that library. So I thought it was just all one thing. So I was just like, yeah, and stuff. So I went and I got the book, and then came back, and I got my card out, my library card. I'm like, oh, not that one. We don't do that one. So that she had to sign me up for one, which was absolutely fine. And I'm not saying like all old people are like this at all, but she was not the fastest on the computer, but it was so endearing because she was like doing all of the things, and like we were just like chatting in between. And then she turned the screen so that I could see it, and the whole thing went off. The whole thing went off, and like she was in the middle of like signing me up for the library, and just the whole thing went off, and I was like, but she was telling me that, you know, her and the person she was with are like volunteers, and I just absolutely love that. Like they were the nicest people ever. And they were just so helpful. So they got me signed up for the card. I felt a bit embarrassed because I thought I was joined up, but it's a different library, so of course I need a different library card. But I'm a bit dim, so yeah, I got my Facebook from there, and then I went to the one I usually go to. But then I couldn't find one of the books, and I was like, crap, it's not on the shelf. So I asked someone, oh, it says it's available in the catalogue. It says one available in P. So I was like, does that mean it's under P? She's like, no, that's paperback. So I'm like, oh, right, okay. But like, it was in a different section anyway, because they have other stands and things, which obviously, I worked at a bookshop for 4 years. I should know this. There are stands like every now and then, and other little selections and stuff. So obviously it was going to be on there. I just didn't look. Oh, so I was a little bit dim this morning. But you know what? The one thing that was constant in both those libraries was phenomenal customer service. So nice, so wholesome, and she chatted to me for a little bit as well. Yeah, I got all my books. I got all the books I needed to for this video, plus one more, because I was just looking, right? And I was like, oh my god, like, I love being in libraries, right? I just love it. I absolutely love the way it feels and just the way I feel when I'm in one. And just checking the books out, I'm just like, oh. So anyway, I was just having a look, and there was one more that I looked at that I thought looked really, really good. So I'm going to show you that before I talk about the ones that I'm reading for this vlog. I might try and fit this one in, even though it doesn't fit with the theme. I might try and fit this one in, but it's called Black Lane Manor by Guy Morpus. It doesn't look so good. And then on there as well, Agatha Christie on steroids. Oh, Ashley just fell off the bed. Are you okay? Agatha Christie on steroids. Like, that's hilarious. And it's like some kind of mining town. There is a folktale passed down. An old story about a ship wrecked upon the coast. single survivor who made it to shore. His descendants are said to have a unique ability, once in their lives and only once they can unwind the events of the previous 6 hours. And then more than 200 years later, part-time police constable Ella Manning is attending a party at Blacklane Manor when a raging storm sweeps in. She and several other guests find themselves trapped. And when the host is brutally murdered in his study the next morning, the door locked from the inside, they turn to her to solve the crime. Ooh, honestly, it sounds so good. And I think it's brand new because the front of this here is totally blank. And it just feels like a brand new book. So I'm excited to read that. But I'm not reading that in this vlog, although I might try at the end. We're going to see. Anyway, moral of that story, libraries are phenomenal. So I did manage to get my hands on The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This was the one that was in the library that was a bit further away. So this better be worth it for that little bit extra mileage I had to walk for it. Better be worth it. I managed to grab Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This one was the one that wasn't under Sager and it was in a different place on a display. But these two I found easily. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, as well as The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. So yay, I got them all and I'm really excited to dive in. I don't know which one I want to start first. I will ask the patrons what they think I should start with. And yeah, let's see what I'm going to be reading first. I don't really have a preference. I don't mind which one I read first. I'm sorry if I look like shit this morning, not gonna lie, I was way too tired last night, but I do have my second coffee of the morning, ready to talk to you about The Silent Patient. During the Patreon reading sprints with Jade yesterday, we did a poll in the live chat and I asked people what they think I should read first. And it was actually quite close, there were a few ties, and Jade was the one who ended up picking this for me to read first, although the poll did end up going in favour of this too. So Alex is actually the author that I'm least excited to read because he was my least favourite author from the first lot of episodes of reading BookTube's Most Hated Thrillers. So I was a bit wary about this going into it. I did really enjoy the premise of it when I read it. So this follows a woman called Alysia, and for some strange reason she killed her husband and then never spoke again afterwards. And then we follow Theo, who is a psychotherapist, and he wants Alysia to be his client, essentially. But she is in a sort of hospital, an asylum. So Theo is, just trying to find out why she killed her husband so inexplicably. So honestly, actually, I was so pleasantly surprised by the start of it. So we actually have Alysia's diary first, and she talks about her husband, and it seems like all nice and lovely. And then we go into the first chapter, which is when Theo starts to take over as narrator, and he says, the first line, Alysia Berenson was 33 years old when she killed her husband. And I was like, oh, that's a good first line. I will give him that. That's a good first line. So I was intrigued by that right off the bat. And then I will say my attention is kind of waning a little bit because I feel like the writing style is quite pretentious and it's not really my kind of thing. And I felt the same way about The Maidens. However, I do think I am preferring this to The Maidens. I genuinely, actually, 100% I am liking this more than The Maidens. And I'm only like 100 pages in, so anything could happen. Anything could happen. But already I'm just intrigued by why Alysia killed her husband. I have no idea why, or like if she even did it. Did she even do it? Nobody really saw her do it. She was just covered in blood. She was with the body. And because she hasn't spoken at all, it's like, well, what actually went down? What actually happened? So I am so intrigued. And the fact that Theo is a psychotherapist and he is trying to get Alysia as a client and he's gotten a job now at the place where she's kept, that does make more sense than the main character in The Maidens doing what she did. And honestly, one of the most ridiculous things The Maiden was how absolutely ridiculous that whole thing was. But this one, it's a lot more believable and I'm following it a lot better. And again, I don't know if I love Alex's writing style, But he's keeping me interested. I am intrigued, looking forward to reading more of this today. I was going to go to my local cafe, but I don't know if the pervert's still there, so I might scratch that. But all in all, it's actually a pretty good start. I really want to finish this today. I would have read so much more yesterday, but I kind of got caught up in doing taxes. I actually wanted to do them. I actually had stuff I needed to do for, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to do this right now. So I did tax stuff yesterday mostly, but I still managed nearly 100 pages, so I'm really happy with my progress so far. Okay, this man isn't for me. He really isn't. I mean, attractive, yes. He is an attractive man, I'll give him that. But Mr. Alex and his writing style, the way he tells a story, not having it. So as I said before, I did find the premise really intriguing. Really liked the mystery aspect of it. But I feel like after a certain point, I was like, wait, hang on. What am I actually reading? So I will have to do a spoiler bit for this. I will put spoilers on the screen so that you don't have to listen through the spoilers if you haven't read it yet. If you want to read it, then don't worry, I will not spoil it for you. But I can't talk about the plot twist and stuff without, you know, spoilers. So I did mention that we had Theo as the psychotherapist, and he tries really hard to get Alysia's case. She's been in this place for 7 years, I think, since she killed her husband, and he's trying to get her to talk and to do things. So there's a lot of plot holes for me. There were a lot of things that didn't add up and didn't make sense, and I feel like I had the exact same problems as I had with the Maidens with this one. And I thought, starting this one out, I thought it would be different, but I soon came to realise I just don't get on with it. I just don't. Let's do the spoiler review. Dun, dun, dun. Right, so we have Alysia and her diaries, right? And Alysia, she says things that are happening in her life. We get leading up to her husband's murder. And she mentions a man. She mentions seeing a man. And honestly, as soon as we had the inkling that Alysia wasn't the one to kill her husband, I immediately thought Theo. I think it was pretty obvious that the only man that would be a shocking twist per se would be Theo, the psychotherapist who's been trying to get Alysia's case. She's obsessed with her and stuff like that. I thought that's what's going to be in it, and I was right. This man who ends up coming in and tying Alysia up and tying her husband up, it is Theo. Theo doesn't kill her husband. Alysia still does kill her husband. But I just don't understand her reasoning for it. I don't get how we got from point A to B in this. I don't know if maybe I just accidentally skipped it, although I doubt it. But I just feel like there's just a huge part of this, or a huge chunk of this missing, that I feel should have connected the dots, but it just didn't. Now, apparently, Alysia, when she was younger, her dad said that he wishes that Alysia had died instead of I believe her sister had died, or something. And her dad said, I would rather her be dead. And Alysia heard that and she's like, well, that was the moment he killed me. I've been dead ever since. Right? But like, it doesn't really explain anything. It doesn't explain why she stays silent, or even why she actually does kill her husband. Like, I don't think any of that's explained. Her art as well, like, there's a huge focus on her art and what her art represents and her painting. I don't think any of that came to anything in this either. And even Alysia's sketchy relatives or people who were associated with her husband, when Theo is going off and doing his investigations and stuff, that came to pretty much nothing either, because, I mean, I don't really understand why Theo's doing this. If Theo was the man who came in and tied them up and set Alysia off for killing her husband, why 7 years later is he trying to get a case? And like, I know Theo has troubles at home. He has a wife who is cheating on him. And honestly, I didn't care less. I was like, am I supposed to care about him in his love life? In his relationship with his wife? Because I don't. I actually don't. I don't care about anything of that. He's like, I'm not going to talk about me. This is Alysia's story. He was a liar. He's a liar. I also don't understand the whole investigation thing into Alysia killing her husband. Surely they would have seen that she'd previously been tied up, right? Because yeah, Theo did bind her, and then, you know, he shoots his gun in the air with both the husband and her there, and he lets Alysia go. He removes her binds and lets her go, and she does end up shooting her husband in the face 5 times, which again I don't think was explained very well. But surely the investigators, the police, would have, well, one, seen the bound marks on her arms, so they would have known, and they would have, I don't know if Theo took the rope that he used or anything, but like surely there's just, some particles of, you know, anything. Like, for some reason, it just seemed like the investigation was stupidly not done properly. And also, just the fact that they didn't even consider the other man theory, which there was a witness for. And even Alysia's diary, I don't understand why she would do this. And it's like the same as why I like DNF the appeal. I was just like, why is this all being told in emails? This just doesn't make sense. But like, say with this, when Alysia's writing in her diary, right? And she's like, oh, a man's just broken in. He's coming up the stairs. He's on his way and stuff like that. Why are you writing that in your fucking diary? Run. Run. Just leave. Why are you doing that? And it's the same at the end, like with the twist thing with, you know, Theo giving Alysia this obscene amount of morphine that's supposedly going to put her in a coma, and like it's a huge overdose of it. She still had time to write everything in her diary and hide it so that the people could find out what Theo had done to her. But like, why didn't she just say something? Her reasoning for being quiet the entire time and not saying anything is stupid. Like, she doesn't actually have a reason to not speak and defend herself. There's just no actual reason for that. It doesn't make sense. I feel like the whole mental health side of it as well wasn't explored very well, so it kind of came across as very, well, bad. I just don't think that was handled very well. What else? Honestly, there was just so much that frustrated me by the end of this. I was going to give this like 2.5 stars, but I'm thinking of like really lowering that now to like 2 stars. I think I gave The Maidens 1.5 star. So I think I will give this 2 stars because I did still like it more than The Maidens, and it made a little bit more sense than The Maidens. But, I don't know, maybe I should lower The Maidens to 1 and give this one 1.5. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this one 1.5 stars. I didn't think, like, it was that great. Like, I don't mesh with the writing style at all. I don't think there was an actual plot twist in this. I don't think the story at the end of the day made any sense. There weren't any really characters that felt genuine. I feel like, even with The Maidens too, a lot of dialogue just felt manufactured. And it just felt like we're watching a play, which I guess probably is the point, because we have some kind of like Greek tragedy kind of parallel or whatever with this, which is fine, honestly, but we're being presented a real life story. You know, this is supposed to be real. This is supposed to actually make sense, and it doesn't. It feels panto. It feels fake. It feels false. The dialogue isn't genuine. It just, none of it feels genuine. My memory is shocking, but I definitely like this just slightly more than The Maidens. But it's just genuinely not for me. I will never ever read another book by this man again. Ever. Yeah, disappointing. Like, hugely disappointing. Especially starting off the vlog like this when I'm supposed to be reading, you know, BookTube's most, like, loved thrillers by these authors. And obviously I had no other option to read this. And if he releases another, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it. Even for a video project, it ain't going to happen. Unless it gets, like, hugely amazing reviews and I get FOMO. But other than that, no. Not going to do it. So yeah, that was a bit of a rant review. I'm so sorry if you didn't want any of the spoilers and you've skipped to this part. I just don't know what else to say about this book other than it's just really disappointing and just wasn't really that good to me. Anyway, so I do have either Home Before Dark, The Kind Worth Killing, and The Turn of the Key to read next. I'm unsure which one to start. I mean, I have put a bookmark into Home Before Dark, but that's because it was on the top of the pile. I am probably more excited to read Home Before Dark over the other ones. But I might go on Instagram, I might do a story. I want to have a little bit of a break, a reading break, because I just want one. Yeah, I'll just wait a couple hours, put on my Instagram stories what I should read next, and see what people pick. Part of me secretly hoping that Home Before Dark is the winner, because Riley Sager was top of the leaderboard in the Summerween vlogs, so we'll see if Riley Sager continues his reign as the best thriller author out of the ones that I've read for this series. Okay, so I went onto the Instagram post to look at the poll, and when I checked it, the Turn of the Key was winning. So I started reading the Turn of the Key, and I'm now 82 pages in, but now Home Before Dark is winning. So I don't know what to do. This is hilarious. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because I respect you guys so much, I respect all the people who voted in that poll, that I'm going to honour the poll. I will start reading Home Before Dark instead. So I'm going to put a little pause on this. However, I want to let you know my thoughts on this so far. So we're going to have a little bit of a cliffhanger moment when I talk about this, and I'm like, okay, but now you won't know what I think of the rest of it until probably the end of the video or after Home Before Dark. I may as well continue this after. Then again, I don't know. Do I want to end this vlog with Peter Swanson? I ended the last vlogs with Peter Swanson. So it's tricky, it's tricky. I mean, I don't mind pausing this at the minute. I am liking it so far, actually. I might as well review right now. I am liking this so far. It is good. I do still have some gripes. So this one follows Rowan, and she answers a nanny ad. She lives in London, but this ad for this nanny position is way up in Scotland, and she is really desperate to get this job, actually, because it's really good money. It looks too good to be true, and it looks fantastic. It's a dream come true job. So she ends up going there. From what I've read, she goes for her interview, and the family pay for the train tickets. She meets Sandra, who is the mom, and she meets some of the kids the next day, but she doesn't meet the husband yet. The husband isn't there, and the previous 4 nannies have all gone, and we don't really know why they left the job. And Rowan actually did find a kind of a creepy-ish note by a former nanny who didn't finish the letter that they left. It was telling her to something, and Rowan thinks she was trying to tell her to be careful. So that's a little bit creepy, and I am liking the intrigue of that. And we also actually start this book with Rowan being in jail for killing one of the kids. I don't know if she killed one of the kids. It's actually up for debate so far. This whole book actually is told in a sort of letter format, because at the very start of this book we have Rowan, and she's incarcerated. Rowan is asking Mr. Wrexham to represent her, to try and help her. So she's sending letter after letter after letter, trying to convince him to get her as a client. And this is where some of my gripes come in, right? So I'm not a big fan of letter formats, right? And this is going to be spoiler free. Spoiler free. I'm not a big fan of letter formats because, especially when it's an event from like months and months and months before, right? How is she supposed to remember every single minute detail of the story? The way it's coming across as is that this is like a novel format, and then we get reminded that it's actually a letter. Like, it doesn't come across as a genuine letter, especially since of like how detailed it is. We get internal monologues within those moments, and I'm just like, how? Just for example, on page 54, I took a photo of it. We have Sandra, who is the mom. But that's enough about me in the house. What about yourself? Sandra said with the air of getting down to business. Tell me a bit about what attracted you to nannying. And then the narrator, wow, that was a big question. And I'm just like, that shock in that moment feels like it's happening in that moment. And I know this is like a really nitpicky thing, but it happens a couple of times where it seems like the narrator, like, you know, she's telling her story, Rowan's telling her story, and she's shocked, or she has an emotion that happens within that moment. And I'm just like, but you're telling this lawyer your story in a letter format months after all of this has happened. So I find it really hard to believe that this is told in letter format. And I feel like Miss Ruthie herself forgets every now and then that she's supposed to be writing a letter. Not in the way that it's coming across as. Because even every now and then we do have Rowan say, but Mr. Wrexham, please. And it's just like, it brings you back to the fact that it's a letter without making it feel like it's a letter, you know? I don't know, maybe I'm being nitpicky, but it does take away the believability for me. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm actually enjoying what I've read so far, you know? But that's what I said about The Silent Patient, didn't I? In the first 99 pages. And I just don't really like things told in letter format about events that happened months or years before, where everything is told exactly how it apparently happened, with all of the emotion, all of the internal monologue. It just doesn't add up to me, you know? So unless they're faking it, unless they're lying, then it doesn't make sense. That's just my take on it. I'm not reading more of this anyway. Y'all voted me to read Home Before Dark, So that's what I'm going to do, because I'm a man of my word. I did take a break as well because Married at First Sight was on. So I could have been a lot further into The Turn of the Key, but I had Married at First Sight to watch. And also, it's 2 for Tuesday at Domino's, so I got some Domino's, I got some food. So I do have Home Before Dark. This is actually the one that I was hoping would win. So, like, it does work out. It does work out. Would you move into a house where a murder happened? And there are rumours that there might be some kind of ghostly activity there. Now, I literally just spent, 3 nights in a haunted castle, and it freaked me out. And I barely got any sleep. And I feel like most of that was in my own head. So, like, say, would you move into a house where a dad had murdered his daughter? And I think something else might have happened there as well before this, because one of the secondary characters mentions, I should probably tell you what this is about. A secondary character said something a little bit ominous that, the previous owners, who are the ones who were involved in that murder, they had something to deal with. Like, they had to deal with a house or something like that. And it was, it is interesting. So I am 127 pages in. I read quite a lot last night. It is very easy to read, actually. It's like quite, fast going and stuff. But I thought the same about Survive the Night to begin with as well. So we'll see how we get on. So this follows Maggie. And years ago, when she was a child, she and her parents moved into a murder house. That murder house I was telling you about. And they don't even last that long there. They leave inexplicably, and then her dad releases a book about their experience there, and Maggie doesn't believe a word in that book. And a lot of people love it. It's like a bestseller. And then Maggie's father dies, and he leaves her the house in his will. It's called Bainbury Hall. Firstly, with his dying breath, he says, never go back to that house. Never do it. And then he leaves her it in his will. I'm so confused. If you never want her to go back to the house, don't leave it to her in your will, Especially since she totally forgot about the fact that they had that house. She was never going to go back unless it was in the will, and it was. So, it's just, that was weird. But anyway, I don't want to be too overtly negative in this vlog. I really don't. I want the positives. So, easy to read. I quite like Maggie as a character. She's fine. I like the atmosphere, and I kind of like because we have 2 different things happening. Once we have what happened, I think it was 25 years in the past, and then what's happening now. So I do like the juxtaposition between both those timelines. And I mean, nothing overtly original is happening right now. There are a lot of haunted house cliches. We have a main character who has had night terror since she was a child. And of course, they most likely happened or started happening while she was at Bainbury Hall as a kid. We have the murder house. We have secondary characters who live nearby being a little bit sketchy. Yeah, I feel like I've read something like this before. But I'm interested to see how it will become original. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it has its own little identity that I need to uncover. But no, I mean, I'm flying through it, to be honest. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, that was a really short update. I just wanted to let you know that I've actually started this, just like you guys wanted. Actually, let's check the poll. Imagine if, the morning after the poll is totally different. Oh no, it is still Home Before Dark that's winning. The kind we're killing is just, not getting any votes. It's so far back. So Home Before Dark, we're going to continue this bad boy today. I definitely want to go to a cafe tomorrow, I promise. I keep saying that and then I don't. But today I have some things for the house coming, including oven shelves, because I've been living with only one oven shelf for this past year. And so I really needed more oven shelves, and I just decided finally to get some so that I could actually cook more than one thing at once. I've just been having plates of one thing. So I'll have a plate of chicken nuggets and that's it. I'll have a plate of chips and that's it. Yeah, I've not been living the productive life when it comes to cooking this past year, but it's all about change. It's all about change. So I do have some home stuff coming that I genuinely need to live. So I'm not going to go out and miss that delivery. Oh, but then again, who knows, maybe I'll just miss it for the fun of it. So back to reading I go. Oof, a nice late night tea. Yes, please. Oh, it's so cozy. It's so cold out. It smells of weed outside as well, not gonna lie. There's definitely been a lot of drug dealings going on down in Drug Alley, as I like to call it. This is why I don't let my cats out. No doubt they'd be getting drugs. But I do have my tea ready to talk about Home Before Dark, and it's so late. I mean, it's not that late. It's 9:30 p.m. That's not late. I'll still be awake for another 6 or 7 hours. But it did actually take me a little bit longer to finish Home Before Dark. I got to a point around about the middle where I was caring less. And I don't want to keep saying this about thrillers and things. And I do think I enjoy thrillers. And even the ones that are like so hyped, I'm like, I can see why. I can definitely see why, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I don't know if maybe because these are hyped, it's working less in my favour. A bit like how I read, BookTube's most hated books. And I didn't personally hate them because they're BookTube's most hated thrillers. But I feel like having your mind in that frame of thinking where, oh, I know it's like one of the most hated, so I already feel like I'm going in with these expectations that I'm going to hate it too. And it's almost a bit like with these books, I'm going in with the expectations that I'm going to love them because they're so hyped. But I seem to be underwhelmed every time, especially this was definitely better than The Silent Patient though. Definitely. I think I might give this one 3 stars. It's definitely better than Survive the Night as well. I just got to a certain point where I stopped thinking it was interesting, which for a story like this where it has that potential paranormal aspect and it has, really interesting mystery at the root of it, I think when it all came out and we find out exactly what happened and we connected all the pieces, I think that's where I was rather underwhelmed. So spoiler free just for a moment, I did still like it. I liked the atmosphere. I thought it was really well written and I liked the dialogue and it felt more genuine than The Silent Patient, for instance. And I definitely did like it more than Survive the Night. This didn't make me angry, which is great. It didn't make me angry. I do say there was a sort of a double plot twist or a double reveal where I kind of preferred the first reveal over the second reveal, but that's neither here nor there. I can't always get what I want. Okay, we're just going to talk about spoilers now. So in this house, right, we don't really know if Maggie made up the ghosts, if she was having some kind of just childhood delirium or whatever, and we don't know whether or not her dad lied about the stuff that he wrote in his books. So it turns out he did lie because he was covering up for Maggie. So my mind's a little over the place. So at Banbury Hall, Maggie ends up discovering a body, a skeleton that's like 25 years old, from around about the time when Maggie and her family left the haunted house. And it seems to be the missing Petra. So Petra was somebody who was part of their lives way back then. Petra is actually the housekeeper's daughter who would occasionally look after Maggie and she would kind of befriend Maggie and things like that. But Petra did go missing 25 years ago. And nobody knows exactly what happened. They thought she might have ran away. But Maggie, 25 years later, in the present day timeline, she does discover a skeleton. Wow, that's hard to say. She does discover a skeleton. And it turns out to be Petra. And she has this moment where she thinks that maybe her dad had killed her. And the mystery now in the second half of this book is, did her dad kill Petra? Who killed Petra? How did she end up there? So we actually did get the reveal that Maggie was the one who killed her. And I was actually really loving that. I was like, okay, the main character's the killer. I like that. I do like that. And some of it would have made sense because we have a moment where Maggie questions the chronology of what happens in this book, because Maggie got this injury, this scar that she's had forever, and she sees that it's not in the right place in the book. So there was like a little bit of suspicion about that, and I was like, that's interesting. What has that got to do with anything? And I thought that is what cleverly connected her to being the killer. I mean, I didn't guess her being the killer, and it turns out she's not the killer anyway. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. I didn't know who the actual killer was. And when she was revealed, I was a little bit underwhelmed because it turns out, I think I mentioned it before, that there was a father-daughter suicide murder thing that happened in the past, and that's what Maggie's family was told when they moved into Banbury Hall. And so yeah, the dad killed the daughter, killed himself, and then left a widow. So it turns out that the widow of the daughter whose her husband had killed is the one who killed Petra because she would break into Banbury Hall and watch Maggie sleep because she reminded her of her murdered daughter. Which, honestly, it is creepy. It is very creepy. But I just didn't really care too much for that reveal. I did like how the ghosts turned out to be real people and how they were explained. I did really like that as well, come to think of it. What was her name again? Marta. Marta is the one who killed Petra and the one who's been watching Maggie sleep. And she has these glasses that reflect the moonlight. So when Maggie was younger, she would call her Miss Pennyface. And that would be like the creepy, ooh, that's the name of the ghost, and that's scary. And it is scary, it is scary, especially since actually now that she is an actual real person who's been breaking in, that is terrifying, like genuinely terrifying. Part of me does wish that the ghost had been real and it had been an actual paranormal thing. But I do like how we had that explanation. What I don't understand is, though, Maggie would say time and time and time and time and time again back in the past that the ghost was standing right there and her parents would look and there was nobody there, but Maggie was adamant that they were. So I don't know how it goes about explaining, like, how... So were they not there? Like, was Maggie just making that up? But then I don't understand that. I don't, because apparently they're real people. If they weren't ghosts and she wasn't saying things, then why time and time and time again was Maggie saying, oh, there they are, right there in front of you, behind you? Why weren't they there then, if they were real? Like, I don't get that. I don't know if maybe I'm just, like, looking too far into it, or maybe I've just missed something completely and I'm constantly looking for plot holes and everything, apparently. But I did have a good time reading this. If the middle part of it wasn't as slow as it was, I guess, like, Maggie's section did start to get a little bit repetitive, and I was preferring the past segments because I was looking forward to seeing what this whole sleepover was about, because it was the sleepover bit, and that was, like, really interesting. Other than that, I just feel like I probably built myself up more for it, and I didn't get the thrill of this thriller. Especially, I wouldn't even really call it too much of a thriller. I would probably say it's like a mystery. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert. But I would probably say it was more of a mystery. I think that's all I really want to say about it. Yeah, it was good. So that's why I'm giving it 3 stars. Did I give Survive the Night 2.5? Am I only giving this 0.5 more than Survive the Night? Really? Okay, I'm going to change it to 3.5. 3.5, I think. A whole point more than Survive the Night. Then again, I could be wrong. I might be remembering all of the ratings wrong from months ago. Again, I'm all over the place. It's late. Anyway, I need to finish off my tea. I did a lot of housework today. Got things tidied up, cleaned. I feel cleansed. I feel refreshed. I'm wondering, should I read The Turn of the Key next or The Kind Worth Killing next? I am already partways through The Turn of the Key. And I was liking it, actually, from what I read. 82 pages. I would like to finish a book tomorrow because I do have some writing to do. The more I think about it, the more I think I might have actually liked Peter Swanson's book the least in my previous series, rather than Alex Michaelides. I don't know, I researched my own videos. I think it might be in Peter Swanson because I remember really hating 9 Lives, like, to the point where I think I had a full-on rant about how much I hated it. So it might have actually been Peter Swanson who I hated the most. Not personally, just his book. I'll keep Peter Swanson for last. I'm going to return at The Turn of the Key. Yeah, I just want to read this now. I feel like I'm actually going to give this one a good rating, okay? A 3.5 is a good rating, actually, now that I've amended it. But, yeah, I feel like this one could potentially be a 4. I really do. Yeah, I have high hopes that this could be a 4. I hope I'm not disappointed. Right, I'm actually going to do it. I'm actually going to go out and go to a coffee shop. You might think I'm being a hermit, but honestly I haven't. I've been to the castle last week. I'm in a bit of a getaway next week with some friends. And, like, it's not a problem. It's just I don't want to go to that cafe if the pervert's there. It's put me off, but I really want to go back to the cafe. Like, I just want to sit in a cafe and read The Turn of the Key. It's been a few days now since I last updated you. I decided I was being too hard on myself with deadlines and timelines and things like that, and I was trying to rush things. I don't want to rush things, you know? I want to be able to enjoy this. So I haven't actually read more than from my last update, I don't think. I can't even remember what I last said in my last update. But I am on page 162 of The Turn of the Key. It would be great if I could finish this at the cafe today. It really would. And you know what? I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm not going to be like, okay, this needs to be done by then, and this needs to be done by then. You know, it's just going to be chill. So yeah, let's go to this cafe, change the scenery up a bit in this vlog. I mean, it's just been these 4 walls, hasn't it? I want to say if this cafe has any really good autumnal drinks, any fall drinks that they might have on offer that I would like to try. I did have a pumpkin spice latte this morning from Starbucks delivered. But you know what? If they're doing pumpkin spice lattes at this cafe, I might as well. I feel like I'm getting back into them. I got sick of them, but now I'm slowly getting back into enjoying them again. So yay. I also had terrible acid reflux, so I'm going to have to get that sorted today too. So I'm getting on a bit. I am. My body doesn't bounce back the way it used to when I was 12. I've had this in the fridge for the past few hours. Well, probably like 7 hours or something. It is a sour apple frappuccino from Starbucks. And I'm sorry, the lighting's terrible in here. But, can you see this at all? This is what it looks like. This is what it's supposed to look like. And I'm going to try it. I've never tried it before. It popped up and I was like, a sour apple frappuccino. Let's give it a try. Oh, that's powerful stuff. It probably tastes nicer when it's fresh. But it's still pretty good. I quite like it, actually. It has flavour. It has flavour, so I'll put that one down for now. Probably take me a few hours to drink. So I actually did read quite a lot more of The Turn of the Key. I wanted to finish it in the cafe, but I got to page 264. And guys, I think I probably will end up giving this a 4-star. I do. I think it's really, really good so far, actually. Really enjoying the story, the atmosphere and stuff, and I'll delve into it a lot better when I finished it and I do my little spoilery thoughts and all of that. So I will talk more about it then. But so far, again, really good. And just the storytelling style of it is not my favourite. Don't bullshit me. This is not a letter to a lawyer. Don't try and pull the wool over my eyes with that one. Ruth Ware forgets all the time that she's writing to a lawyer, apparently. But yeah, I'm going to finish it now. I did order food, right? Okay, keep this between us. Right, so last night my housemate ordered food without asking me if I wanted anything, right? So today, I've just ordered food without asking my housemate if he wants anything. You know what to say. When people go low, you go lower. Also, the cafe was really nice again. I've missed that place so much. The pervert wasn't there, so that's a good thing. But also, it was so busy when I first got there, I thought, crap, I won't be able to get a table, I'll have to go. But turns out, actually, that if I just waited like 5 minutes, a table would clear up. So by the time I got my coffee, I said, can I get it to take out? Got my coffee. By the time it was made and stuff, there was a free table. I managed to stay there for a good like 2.5 hours or something. It really made a huge dent in my book, so I'm really happy with the progress of that. And I've just finished CCing my book haul as well, so that's all done. I can just relax, wait for this food, and finish The Turn of the Key, which I'm so happy is not a bad book. Who have I pissed off? So I liked it to a point. I was overlooking a lot of the things that I had personal issues with, which I mentioned 1,000 times in the vlog so far. And I was just overlooking a lot because I was just like, I want to like this. A lot of people do. I like the atmosphere. It feels really quite creepy. You know, we have Rowan being in this new nanny job and how she doesn't really know, and it's like very technologically advanced or whatever, and there's like a hidden attic and she's hearing noises upstairs, stuff like that. You know, I was getting a little creeped out at certain points and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I have such high hopes for this. And I was like, oh, this could definitely be a 4-star. Are thrillers always based on lies? Like, I totally get it though. You have to kind of lie in order to prolong a reveal or a kind of plot twist. But I hate it when it's first person and we get a plot twist that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when we've had their internal monologue this entire time. I mean, I know she's writing this in a letter, but I genuinely think Ruth Ware forgot she was writing this as a letter because the amount of times we had in our monologue and in our feelings in that moment that totally betrays... Oh crap, I'm watching Sprints. Shit, sorry. I'm currently watching Sprints. I was like, what the fuck is that? Is that a ghost? Okay, we're going to spoilers. I'll put a spoiler warning up on the screen, so if you don't want to be spoiled for this book, jump ahead. I will have spoiler on the screen until I stop talking about spoilers. I kind of wish it was a ghost. I really do. I'd rather it a ghost than a fucking YouTube video. So that all the noises that Rowan was hearing in this attic thing was just a YouTube video being played by Maddie, the kid. Like, that's what it was. I feel like you would probably bloody know if it was a YouTube video that was playing and not actual footsteps. Which, you know, we had Rowan measure the depth perception of the audio of the footsteps, and like, it wasn't light enough to be a child, but it was loud enough to be an adult kind of thing. Like, it was like stuff like that. But if it was a bloody YouTube video, like, come on. And then the whole thing was misbehaving children. That's all it bloody was. There was no kind of scary person. There was no ghost. It was just a misbehaving child this entire time. In the house, the house is just... okay, I was a little bit shocked when the teenage daughter came back and revealed that she knew Rowan's real identity, which is called Rachel. Rachel used her roommate's identity, called Rowan, in order to get the job. But yeah, I was kind of a little bit surprised by that, actually. And I should have picked up on that. You know, I thought this was quite clever, Miss Work. Quite clever. There was a moment where, very early on, where Rowan couldn't give her driving license or something, and she had an excuse. Can't remember what the excuse was, but I believed her. So, like, that was all fine and well. And then it turns out that Rowan is actually the daughter of the father who is part of this house, who we only ever meet the once. He was a sleazeball. He tried to sleep with her. He's been sleeping with all the previous nannies, and that's why they were leaving. They were leaving because, you know, they were... Well, some of them were sleeping with him. I think that's what it turned out as. One of them was sleeping with him for quite some time. So that was the reason why they left. It would have been so great to have had that explored a little bit more, honestly, rather than it just being a sort of plot twist. But also the fact that Rowan is his daughter. And I'm just like, hang on again, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when we've been having internal monologue this entire time. And when Rachel/Rowan was confronted by this man and he hit on her, like, we had her internal monologue and she did nothing. She said nothing. This is why I don't trust first-person narrators and these kinds of twists when it just doesn't make sense, because we've been inside their bloody head. We've been inside their bloody head. What, they're trying to keep it away from us. I mean, I know this is told in a letter, but again, Ruth Ware forgets that. Ruth Ware forgets that she's writing a bloody letter to a bloody solicitor. So I'm really disappointed by the end of it. Now, it turns out, actually, that the dead child is Maddie. She got pushed out of a window by her younger sister, Ellie. And, yeah, so Rowan is definitely innocent of it. But at this point, I don't bloody care. It would have been more of a twist if it had turned out to be her. I would have respected her for it. Like, and fictionally. Because at the end of the day, Rowan was a bit of a bland character. She wasn't really that interesting. Like, she kept doing things that just frustrated the life out of me. She's taken up this job. Where she's looking after kids. And she can't do it. Like, on the first day, she fails. And she just keeps making these silly decisions. And it's obvious that it's getting on top of her. And she doesn't talk to anyone but, like, Jack. And then Jack turns out to be a bit of a scumbag, cheating on his wife. So, like, this is just filled with scumbag characters. Oh, like, I really wanted to like this one. I really did. Why is this happening to me? But, like, you know what I mean about lies? Like, I just feel like the entire time we were lied to for a plot twist. And I don't like that. I mean, I know that's probably the basis of a lot of plot twists. But, like, surely you don't have to be inside someone's head this entire time just for them to come out with something like that. That doesn't make sense to their earlier inner monologues and emotions and feelings. It doesn't make sense. And I stand by that. I don't mind being lied to if the plot twist is one, good. In two, it makes sense overall. I just don't think it does. Because we've been in her goddamn head. I'm so mad at the ending. I loved the idea that we had Maddie get pushed and stuff and we had her body in that. But, like, there's nothing happens after that, really. We lead all the way up to who was it that died? Who was the daughter that died? The child that died? And then nothing. You get nothing with that. It would have been, you know, cool to have seen, you know, how Rowan reacted to that more. The kind of the weight between the body and the police coming, you know, like, maybe, like, just amp up the creepiness of it. Make her think that she's been pushed earlier, you know, not that she fell from the window. Make her be like, oh my god, there's, like, someone in the house. Make something scary out of it, you know? Like, that's the whole point of her hearing things in the attic, and her thinking there was someone in the house, and she's been paranoid this entire time that there is something ghostly or something. Make her think there's something there. Make her think that somebody pushed Maddie, rather than just have it be that she finds her body and it's over. It's over. She gets... The way she finds out that Ellie pushed her was because she gets a letter from her at the end. And I don't even think she gets this bloody letter, to be honest. And it's just the way that I don't think any of her letters went to this solicitor, because we had Richard McAdams at the very end with a letter on the 8th of July 2019 say, Rich, bit of a funny one, but we found this pile of old papers when he was ripping out a wall. Looks like one of the prisoners hid them. So I don't understand. Did she hide the letters and not actually send them? Like, I just don't understand. Why did she do all of that just to hide the letters in a wall? Did somebody else hide them? Oh, oh crap. I'm resting this on a pillow. So, like, I just need the ending to be explained a bit more because it just was over in, like, 5 pages. Oh, you're so cute. Look at you lying on your back, so your belly up and your paws are up. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're making me feel better after reading this, aren't you? So yeah, it's over in a couple of pages. We find out all these revelations, then boom, it's done. So yeah, I don't understand why these letters were never posted. Did she hide them herself? I just don't understand. It just feels like one big waste. It feels like one big waste. And anyway, why did she withhold her name from Mr. Wrexham as well? If everybody knows that she's Rachel, why withhold that information until the very, very end? And why withhold the information of which child died until the very end if Mr. Wrexham would have already known who died? Like, I don't get it. This is why I hate the letter format, because it doesn't make any sense. Why for dramatic effect? Why? You're trying to get him as your solicitor. You don't need to add dramatic effect. And she was saying that she can't skip out on any detail, right? She can't skip out on any single detail about what happened to her, because if she did, then the whole story would fall apart. But I genuinely think you could have wrote like 10 pages of what happened, because a lot of this was waffle. A lot of it was waffle. And like the whole thing about the doll head, and she even said halfway through the book as well, oh sorry, I'm rambling a bit, I should really get to the point of the story. Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Absolutely. That's what you said to begin with. That's why you have to apparently include every single detail, which again doesn't make sense, because how are you supposed to remember every single thing from that long ago? Like, down to what she thought at that moment and felt. That's the end of the spoilers. A bit disappointed with this one, not gonna lie. I was really feeling a 4-star for the most of it. And then before I came on here to talk to you guys, I was thinking, okay, it's a 3. But then after talking about it, like actually talking about it, I think I might give it a 2.5. What did I give 1 by 1? Did I give it 2 stars? I think I did. 2.5 for the turn of the key. I can't remember anything about 1 by 1, honestly. Apart from that stupid app. Start of every chapter. It was that unmemorable. I will say some of this was more memorable, but what a letdown. So far, the authors are going in order again. So we have Riley Sager as my favourite author from this experiment, and then Ruth Ware second, and then Alex Michaelides is, I think, maybe bottom so far. I think Peter Swanson ended up bottom. You know what? I should really check. Let me just go and check. What was the final leaderboard? Did I say I put The Maidens last earlier? I was totally wrong. I actually put 9 Lives last. So in order of favourite to least favourite author out of this, it was Riley Sager, Ruth Ware, Alex Michaelides, and then Peter Swanson. So that's exactly how this is looking so far. So when I read The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, if that turns out to be my least favourite of the vlog, then we've just had a repeat. We've just had a repeat of the Summerween vlogs, where it turns out to be in the exact same order for the authors. So there's part of me that's hoping that this Peter Swanson book breaks the mould. I really do. He was my least favourite author, even though I thought it was Alex Michaelides, I thought it was The Maidens, but it's not. I really want Peter Swanson to buck the trend. I really want him to give me a really good thriller. I'm not holding out too much hope, but this is history repeating. This is history repeating. Right, I'm just going to quickly pop in and talk to you a little bit about my first initial thoughts on The Kind Worth Killing. I'm only like 30 pages in. I'm on chapter 3. I've decided to borrow the audiobook from Libby as well, because I've been reading so much physically this past like month or so. In fact, even longer than a month. I can't even really remember the last time I listened to an audiobook and just sat and enjoyed and just did what I needed to do, pottering around, doing housework and stuff like that. It's been a while. So I'm listening to the audiobook of The Kind Worth Killing, and like I just got a moment where I just felt like, okay, I have to like come on and talk to you about it. And it's part of like the premise really, so it's not spoilery, in my opinion. It's not a spoiler. It's just the mind of them, I guess. Like just the yeah, anyway, so the Kind Worth Killing, I will tell you what this is about. We follow Ted and Lily. They meet each other at an airport. Their flight gets delayed. I think this is like Strangers on a Train inspired, which I think I've already mentioned, but I've never seen or read Strangers on a Train. I believe there is a film of it. Was it based on a book? It probably was. But yeah, it's inspired by that. And that's essentially where two strangers, they meet for the first time, they talk about killing someone, and I think they end up attempting to kill the other person that they want to kill, or something like that. I don't know how to explain things properly. Firstly, each chapter is a different POV, so we have Ted in chapter 1, Lily in chapter 2, Ted in chapter 3, and so on and so forth. And chapter 2 made me quite uncomfortable, actually. It was talking about Lily, and Lily was, saying about like her past, and some of it was like really, really sexualized, and something happened to her, a guy called Chet. Yeah, Chet. She was told about how a guy called Chet came into her room at night and was like touching himself and stuff like that. And it was like really gross and uncomfortable. Lily's section was like very sexualized and uncomfortable to read. So yeah, I don't know who the person Lily wants to kill is. It's probably Chet, I don't know. But Ted is talking about killing his wife because she cheated on him. And that is on the back as well, so it's not a spoiler. And just like, his reasoning is just like so weird, in the way that Lily jumps to, the world would be better without her. I'm just like, I mean, there are things that you do that are way worse that would warrant a reaction like that. But infidelity, I mean, yes, it is frowned upon. It is not good. I don't agree with being infidel. I don't agree with being unfaithful to your spouse, but I just don't think it's worthy of killing someone over when you talk about that to a stranger and they're like, yeah, like they deserve to die. And it's just like, is that real? Is that like seriously real? But I am liking it. Like, it's not really a big criticism of it. Of course, like, she has to be this way in order to drive the plot forward. I totally get it. So it's not criticism. I just found it so funny, and I had to jump in and talk about that because I find it so bizarre and so odd. But I do like it. So far, it's an interesting premise. I like that they're chatting about their past and stuff like that. I'm learning more about them. It's fine. It is fine. I am liking it. There was something else I wanted to say as well, but I've forgotten. Why do I not write notes down? Also, the audiobook. While the audiobook, it has two different narrators, one for Ted and one for Lily. The sections with Ted, I mean, bear in mind I've only listened to like the second section of Ted because I'm on chapter 3. It seems to have a different audio quality to the person who's narrating Lily. Like, Lily sounds in a professional studio and narrating this professionally. But Ted's sections sound like they're being recorded on a phone. Like, you can really tell the different audio quality between the sections, and it's very jarring. It is very jarring. I'm not going to hold that against this book, though, because literally, if I read another book physically right now, I'll probably combust. So listening to an audiobook is just the way forward for me right now. I've also got Sims 4 house building in the background. I'm getting obsessed with that again. I just have the videos on a loop on YouTube at the minute, so I can watch them in the background, seeing people make houses on The Sims. It's my favourite thing to do on The Sims, so seeing other people do it. I just watched a guy, what is the YouTube channel? It is Devon Bumpkin, and I just watched them do the Sanderson Sister House, or Sanderson Sister Cottage, and it was so good. I think I have sprints later with Hardback Order, Ali from Hardback Order. She's doing a 48-hour, is it 24 or 48? I think it's 24-hour. 24-hour reading sprints, reading House of Leaves. So she asked me last night if I could do some at 5:30 p.m, which is like plenty of time. I'll get so much read by then. But yeah, I need to get ready. I need to just put something on. I need to put clothes on, and not my pajamas, my frozen Olaf pajamas. I need to get these off. And yeah, just crack on with the day. Continue listening to my audiobook and hope that I get a thriller that thrills me. Absolutely no thoughts, just vibes right now. I am opening a bottle of Prosecco. It is Saturday night, you know. And also, I am going to be joining Ali, which I've already mentioned, but there's like 25 minutes before I join her. And I am on chapter 15 of The Kind Worth Killing. Why is this so hard? Got it. And I'm just ready to crack one open. I haven't had a drink since last week. So let's toast to a pretty good book so far. Hey. Oh, it smells pretty good. I haven't tried this one before. It doesn't tell me anything about this, to be honest. And I do have my Chambord to put in here for a little bit of added flavour. Let's just pop in some Chambord. Let's do a little bit of a taste test, see if I end up enjoying this Prosecco. Have the rest later. And let's give this a try. Cheers. Yeah, it's fine. No qualms. Absolutely fine. So yeah, not much else to say about the kind with killing. Lily is quite messed up, not gonna lie. She has done things that are very wrong. Done things that are very wrong in her life, and she does something very early on as well that trigger warnings for animal abuse. And that's all I'm saying. I'm almost at part 2 of the half-finished house. I mean, we are getting a lot of character work, which is fine. But in terms of the actual plot of this whole strangers on a train, even though they want a plane, and Lily is promising to kill Ted's wife, not much has come to fruition with that, and I imagine it will take a little bit longer to get there. I mean, I am like only nearly halfway through, so. But I do hope to finish this during Ali's reading sprints, honestly. That'll be really nice. Finish it by tonight? Yes, please. I should have probably opened this yesterday, because I prefer ranting about books when I've had some Prosecco, and I feel like my rant for The Turn of the Key would have been, you know, that much more fulfilling to me personally had I had a glass of Prosecco. I should save that really for Ali's live, because apparently we're playing Truth or Dare or something. But I will link Ali's live down in the description box if you want to check it out. Really excited. And yeah, that's it for now. The biggest plot twist of this vlog is that I did quite like this one. I've just edited the intro to this video, right? And I mentioned in the intro about, well, some distaste for Peter Swanson and how I feel like he would probably be my least favourite out of the bunch that I'm reading in this vlog. What a clown I am. I would have updated you last night when I finished, but again, I got too tired. I wanted to lie in bed. I do have a pumpkin spice latte to enjoy as I tell you about the kind worth killing. So yeah, I actually did like this one. This is one from this vlog that I definitely liked the most. It didn't make me angry. It didn't bullshit me. So I appreciate it a lot for that. And it genuinely surprised me with a few of the twists and turns that happened in this. Like, genuinely surprised me. I didn't see a lot of it coming. And again, it's Mr. Swanson. So I genuinely thought he would be my least favourite. Again. But no, he proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. I don't think he's going to be someone I will continue reading in the future, because I don't think I will like any of his other premises. But I appreciate this one. This was definitely the best thriller I read throughout this entire series. I know I said at the start as well that I was going to talk spoiler free and spoiler filled, so you can choose between them. It's hard to talk about this without going into spoilers. So I'm going to go into spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning. I will put spoiler on the screen, and then when it's over, spoiler will come off the screen and it'll be safe to watch again. So keep an eye out for that, but I am going to go into spoilers now. So when I last updated you, it was before I went live with Ali on her 24-hour reading sprints. And I said I was on like chapter 15. It was the chapter that changed everything. It was like the first chapter that I was like, shit. So Ted, the one who is trying to get Lily to kill his wife, Miranda, he dies at the end of that chapter. Brad kills him. Brad is the one who is sleeping with his wife, and Brad kills him. And I was like, wait, hang on, that's my main character you've just killed. I was actually really surprised by that. And then Lily reads about it in the paper and she's like, oh shit. Oh shit. But also, another big twist is that Miranda turns out to be Faith, who took Lily's boyfriend while she was in school. So there is a connection there, and Lily recognized Ted at the airport, so that explains, like, a lot. It explains so much. You know how I was saying, it's so absurd that, you know, you'd be a stranger and you'd be like, yeah, kill them. And I said it was absurd that that would happen. Well, Mr. Swanson explained it, you know. Lily has a lot of hate for Miranda/Faith. And Faith is her middle name, I think. And Faith was the name she went with because she didn't like Miranda or something. Anyway, there is a connection there. So it explained the seemingly randomness of the meeting at the airport between Ted and Lily. And I was like, okay, that's actually kind of a little bit clever. Not gonna lie. Like, it explains things. It doesn't make things seem so unbelievable, you know? And thrillers are, to some extent, supposed to be believable, because if they're set in the real world, then make me believe it, you know? So it definitely got some brownie points for that, I will give it that. So things happened. I do feel like we got quite a lot of character stuff, a lot of character background and history, which really explained a lot of character motives. So I didn't mind it. Sometimes I find it boring, but I really didn't mind learning a lot more about past and stuff, especially the connection between Lily and Faith/Miranda. And we do actually get another kind of thing that happens a little bit later on where I was a little bit confused to begin with again, because Lily confronts Brad and, you know, tells him, oh, tell Miranda to meet me at this place so that I can kill her. And then I was just like, well, this is what Brad told Miranda. And I was like, why would she say that to him? Just for him to reveal it to Miranda. You know, why? Like, that didn't make sense to me. I was like, let me think. And then Brad double crosses Miranda and kills her. So Lily has gotten Brad to kill Miranda/Faith. And I was like, so that is why Lily explained everything to Brad, so that he could double cross. I was like, this is scandal. But I was living for it, honestly. I was like, this is like really, really good. But it just shows how manipulative and insane Lily is. I mean, remember, and I don't think I mentioned this in the vlog because I haven't done a spoiler thing, but one of the first things that Lily tells you about is when she killed a cat. Like, she actually kills a cat, and that, oh, like, I hate Lily, I really do, because anybody who does that to an animal is, like, scum to me. So, I don't really think I like any of the characters. I don't think any of them are particularly likable, but I don't think they're supposed to be, really. They're all very flawed. Like, even Ted, like, even though he died at the start, and I was like, you know, infidelity doesn't warrant, you know, your wife dying. But, like, Miranda was, you know, plotting to have Ted killed herself. So, like, there was that whole, okay, well, Ted's reasons are justified now, but he didn't know that he was going to get killed by her. You know what I mean? So there's, like, a lot of grey area to explore there. But it was, like, really well explored, I think. Which, again, I'm so surprised at because it's Mr. Swanson we're talking about. So I went off on a tangent there, didn't I? What was I even talking about originally? What was I saying? Ali has 7 minutes left on her sprint for the 24-hour sprint she's done, and I want to hurry this along so that when the timer goes off, I'm done. Yeah, so let me just go back into my memory and remember what happened next. Just lots of things happened next, okay? Oh yeah, I was talking about how none of the characters are likeable, which is, again, fine. I don't mind unlikable characters. As long as they're interesting, I don't mind them, and they were interesting. So yeah, Lily gets Brad to kill Miranda. She kills Brad by poisoning him, which, again, I was like, she needs to be stopped. And then she stabs a police officer who, well, kind of like an investigator who was kind of following her. She ends up getting out of that because she makes, or actually it was, this officer was following her and she was, like, scared. Like, she wasn't really scared, but, like, that's the story she went with. And so she kind of gets away with that as well. I'm like, is there anything this woman can't get away with? Is there anything? So, like, low-key respect for that, but also she scares me. She actually scares me. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. Like, I totally didn't expect where it went. I thought Ted would have her wife killed. He might feel some remorse, and he might worry that Lily was gonna out him as conspiring to kill his wife, so he would try and kill her, and she would try and kill him. And I don't know, like, that's kind of the direction I thought the story would go in. But the fact that we had the main character, Ted, die in chapter 15, and then his wife die not long after, and then just to have Lily be on this murderous rampage kind of thing, it was just different, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that a lot. And I just enjoyed that this book never once lied to me about anything, which is something that I really don't like in thrillers. I mean, I know they have to do it every now and then to, you know, give you red herrings and to throw you off the scent, but when it's like straight up bullshit, like say you turn the key, then yeah, I'm not usually a big fan. No spoilers now, no spoilers. Just really good book. Definitely my favourite one I read in this video. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I don't know what it's going to take to give a thriller a 5-star, but I'm still on the hunt for that 5-star thriller. But it is probably like one of my favourite thrillers I've read, just because of how much it surprised me and how low expectations I had of it going into it. That really helped, I think. So that's The Kind Worth Killing. That's the last book I had to read. So ranking them now from worst to best. My least favourite one, and in 4th place, is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Is there a plane flying overhead? Did not really enjoy this one all that much. I definitely think Alex Michaelides is not the writer for me. And then The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Yeah, I had high hopes for it. It started off so well, but unravelled about halfway through and just kind of fell apart to me by the end of it, unfortunately. And then my second favourite was Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I did still enjoy the atmosphere of this one a lot, even if I wasn't fully taken in by the plot. And then my favourite of the vlog, surprise, surprise to everyone, is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. My least favourite author from my Summerween vlogs has catapulted to the #1 author of the Redemption episode. So that's really good. I am so happy with that, actually. I mean, I wish I enjoyed all of these more than I did. Apart from The Kind Worth Killing, I don't think I could have enjoyed it more. But these three, I was expecting Home Before Dark to be at least a 4, but in the same with The Turn of the Key, but I think it was 4, 3.5, 2.5, and 1.5. I think that's how I rated them. Yeah, this is the order I enjoy them. And now I can't wait to return to the library. And yeah, I'm just happy. I'm happy. But yeah, that's the end of the vlog. I really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to give this a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all the comments down below. What did you think of the vlog? Did you enjoy the books that I read in this vlog? Are there any thriller recommendations that you have for me that you think I will personally love? I would love to hear them. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel and making content like this possible. If you'd like to join my Patreon or follow me on any social media, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, that's it, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.